I came into the office with my 6-month baby in carriage, and I'm like, I'll just leave my little baby in the office and I'll go meet with my clients in the boardroom. And I asked Jen, I said, can you just look after Yusuf? And of course she came in, she looked after him, and she changed his diaper that day. And
wow. And his first words were Jen. Yeah.
You're listening to Breakthrough with Coach B, where we help you work less so you can earn and live more. Our mission is to free you from the unnecessary, the repetitive, and the draining, so you can focus on what you love, excel at, and grow your business. Let's dive in. Hey, it's me, Coach B, and you're listening to a very special episode of Breakthrough. I had the opportunity to sit down with one of the most accomplished RE/MAX agents on the planet, Mr. Faisal Susiwala. And when I say accomplished, I really mean it. He's been the #1 individual agent in Canada for a number of years, and he even knocked off our friend Jordan Cohen last year for the #1 spot in the entire RE/MAX network worldwide. Whoa. And remember, I said #1 individual agent, not team leader, meaning Faisal does all of this on his own. Or does he? If you've listened to our agent interviews on this podcast, you know I love interviewing agents that are new to the school of letting go to grow. But Faisal wrote the damn textbook. This man is selling over 300 homes a year as a solo agent, not because he does it himself, but because he understands he can't do it all on his own. You're going to hear how many full-time, part-time, and contractors he has working alongside him, as well as his thoughts on using AI as a way to further his already world-class effectiveness. And the cherry on top, he's a genuinely kind and modest man. Seriously, one of the nicest guys I've ever met in the business. You're definitely going to hear that throughout the conversation. And before we do jump in, I just want to give a special thanks to the team at RRI for letting me use their brand spanking new and shiny podcast studio to record this episode. I hope to do many more in the future. All right, let's dive into our interview with the #1 RE/MAX agent in Canada, all-time great guy, Faisal Susiwala. Imagine freeing up 10 hours a week to focus on what you love, personally and professionally. Ready to get started? Our free guide walks you through the first step, a resource review to identify where you spend your time, money, and energy. Download it now at bradenwheatcroft.com/review or find the link in our show notes. Let's get you closer to your breakthrough.
We're actually going to start today's interview with a lightning round.
Okay.
Because I want to set the table both for my own curiosity's sake, but also for anyone who's watching or listening to this around your approach to the business. Because I think it's frankly very, very unique. So I'm going to ask you some direct questions.
All right.
Okay, you ready?
Let's do it.
Okay, 5-second or less answers. No, the lightning round nonetheless. So I want to talk first about your business. Ballpark, at least. How many homes did you sell last year?
Just over 300.
Okay, just over 300. I'm curious, how many weeks a year do you work? Or if you want to say it differently, how many weeks do you take off from your business?
I'm on 52 weeks a year.
You're on 52 weeks a year.
I can be anywhere in the world. So I'm not off. Now,
Okay.
Physically, I divide my time. So typically Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, I'm not working.
Mhm.
Thursday nights, especially in the winter, I go to the cottage, I'm skiing.
Yeah.
In the summer, I like to just take it easy, but I'm always on. So physically, I'm not there. But
Gotcha.
other than that, 52 weeks a year.
And so around your schedule per week, if you were to say how many hours you're actively engaged in your business, that wouldn't necessarily be like you're, I don't know, barbecuing and then your phone rings, you answer, but more like you're with people or you're in front of your computer or you're doing, how many hours a week do you think your schedule is?
I would say at least 30 hours of solid.
Yeah.
Face-to-face, dealing with an offer, dealing with the listing. Now, I've delegated a lot of it.
Oh, we're going to be talking about that.
Right.
Don't you worry. I got more questions.
Which allows me to
Yes.
scale down my physical requirements in front of people.
So I'm thinking, like, my curiosity is just pinned off the charts now. So 300 homes, 30 hours a week. Okay, let's keep digging. How many licensed agents work with you on your team?
Zero.
Zero, because you don't have a team.
That's
You are a solo agent.
correct.
Selling 300 homes a year. Got it. Okay. How many full-time assistants do you have?
4 full-time assistants.
Yeah.
And then one part-time assistant that is my runner.
Okay, that was my next question. How many part-time assistants? Now, apart from your assistants, and I'd love to know a little bit about what their roles and responsibilities are. Can you guess how many different contractors you work with? Whether graphic designers, videographers, copywriters, like anyone who's not a member of your team, but you're consistently outsourcing tasks to them?
I would say 5.
5.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. We're halfway through the lightning round, I promise, but this is this is very fascinating. So, on the personal front, again, if only if you're comfortable answering, how would you assess? And you can use a number scale if you want to, or just give me a qualitative answer. But how would you assess your physical and mental health?
Um, it varies.
Okay. Do you mind elaborating?
So physical, I take 3 days a week where I have a personal trainer that comes to my home, spends an hour with me, and that is something that I really need as we get older. It's more functional and that type of thing. From a mental health perspective, I consciously will take time off during my day to just relax and not get overwhelmed by things. Um, and again, I'm doing a lot of things now to ease my stress so that I'm not overwhelmed. There were times where, and I've changed this recently, where I'm driving everywhere and I don't have time to sit down and return messages. I would pull into my garage and sit there for 45 minutes and unload everything off of my phone, so that when I enter my home, I'm present. I'm not still. There were times where I come home and I'm still sort of wound up about the day and just need a moment, especially when the kids are young. Now that they're older, I still want to be very present for my wife and for my kids.
There's a big difference between being physically present and like mentally and emotionally present.
Exactly.
And I'm guilty of that too. I actually, apparently I've been told I buy groceries the European way, where I go to the grocery store almost every day, but it's on my way home and it's my favorite grocery store in town. And for me, it's part of my down booting and rebooting for getting home so I can actually feel better. Right. So it's like carrying all that stress of the day, and then you get into the grocery store and you're like, oh, avocados. And then I come home and I'm like in a better mood for my wife. Right. So on the friends and family front, how would you assess like your time with friends and time with family? Like, I'm curious from the perspective of, do you feel like you get enough time? Do you wish you had more time with them? Like, what does that look like?
We could always use more time for friends and family.
Some family, maybe not so much.
No, I make a conscious effort to have at least 2 to 3 times a week to have dinner with my family, to be social with my friends, and sometimes it's just getting together late in the evening for a coffee or tea or a drink or whatever it may be. But that's important to me, to just be able to know that I have a life outside of real estate.
Yeah, and we're going to dig into this quite a bit. But it's fascinating to me when you say a couple nights a week. I make time for dinner. There's agents who sell 15 homes a year that don't make the time or feel they have the time to do that, right? And so this is a big part of what I wanted to get into with you. So the last question on the personal side of things, I'm curious around your hobbies and interests. So do you have a hobby? If you do you ever get to spend any time? Like, I talk to some people who say they love golf, and I said, well, how many rounds a month do you say? Well, I usually once a year, right? And say, well, that's maybe an interest, less of a hobby. What about you?
So in the winter, we have a cottage in Blue Mountain. So Thursdays to Sundays, we are there as a family. Friends are always invited as well, and we ski all winter. It's a 2-hour drive from my home, and I can just feel my blood pressure go down as soon as I leave Cambridge and towards the cottage. So that is very, again, mentally and from a family perspective, very for me. In the summer, I'm a car guy. So going to the track, and just sometimes just getting my kids, my brother, my nephews, my friends together, and just going for little car rallies. And we do a lot of fundraising based around exotic cars and whatnot within different communities. So it's a way to do some good and enjoy our cars as well.
Yeah. Have you ever been to the track on Vancouver Island? They put it in 10 years ago.
I've heard about it.
Yeah, I would love to know if it's a good track or not. I'm not much into
Well, maybe
racing cars.
I'll visit you.
Yeah, that would be so cool. Okay, so let me just recap what we've heard here. Last year, you sold just over 300 homes. You work roughly 30 hours a week, but you're always on. But you manage to take, from what I'm hearing, 2 to 3 days a week that you're not so much working. And in that time, you manage to have dinner with family, time to go to the cottage, time to race cars when the summer is around. And you do all of that as a solo agent without any licensed team members.
Correct.
Can you see where this conversation is going, Faisal? A little bit. My last question in lightning round, and then we'll dive deeper, is do you think you could do all of that if you were a solo agent without assistance?
Absolutely not.
Why?
I realized this about 23 years ago when my son was born.
Okay.
That everything was just falling on the floor and I wasn't able to pick it up and get to it. And that's when I realized that I need to have some help. And my assistant just started as, listen, Jen, she's still with me now, 23 years later. I might need you a couple of hours a day just to help me out. She's worked probably 50 to 60 hours a week since.
Wow.
So that, and then
because she likes to work that much?
I think she just enjoys my company.
You are a nice guy.
But it's, and you know what? What I found that year is that my GCI doubled as a result of being more efficient. And, you just learned over the years on what to do. And I kept adding. Every time I felt I was falling behind, I added. Sometimes I would add more than I need and then fill that time for that person. And that made me even more productive. It's like, okay, I've got somebody sitting here. They need to do some work. Yeah. So let's do more and start scaling up even more.
So 22 years ago, if my math's right, it's around 2002.
2002.
And what year did you get licensed? 1988. 1988, the year I was born.
Wow.
Take me to. I want to unpack like what the life was like for you. Let's go Y2K, 1999. You're a solo agent. You'd been licensed at that point for 11, 12 years, but you didn't have an assistant yet. Like, what can you describe what your business was like back at Y2K?
It was all me. And I was engaged in 1999. I was getting married in 2000. It was all me. I was just working from basically 9 in the morning till 11 at night, showing homes. My business was primarily working with buyers because I started the business at 18.
Yeah.
So I didn't have, clients that were, with me or people that I knew that were old enough to even own homes. So it was just working with buyers. So a lot of it was just physical time, and I was putting in probably 70 hours a week.
Yeah.
I was doing 1 to 3, 3 to 5 open house Saturday, 1 to 3, 3 to 5 open house Sunday. Working before that with buyers, working after. I would borrow my mom's minivan. And in those days, you didn't meet clients. You went and picked them up.
Of course.
You put them in your car and you drove them around. And I was showing, like, in this, especially a lot of new to Canada immigrants who were coming in. They had big families. It's like load them up in mom's Toyota Previa and drive them around and show them house. And by the end of the day, you would sell them a home. So it was like, okay, this is great. It's
a good business.
It's a great business.
And now I know, so I've known you for probably about 3 years. And in that time, you've either been the number one RE/MAX agent in Canada or the number one RE/MAX agent in the world, which is, I'm surprised you actually want to talk to me, to be honest with you. It's crazy.
You're a great guy.
Oh, thank you. But, in that time, like I've known you at the top of the field. Where were you relative? I don't know if they kept global stats back then, but like even in your office or your market area, like where were you ranking in the 1999 2000 time?
A great question. So I met my wife Natalie in 1997, and we got engaged in 99. And the year that we got engaged was the first year. And in those days, platinum with RE/MAX was the big award, and that was $250,000 GCI. And in that time, in 99, I hit the platinum award. So that was about 9 years, 10 years into the business. Yeah. And we were still coming out of the prices in 89 had not recovered until 2000. So you can see it was a very low time. And Natalie threw me a big party because I got this platinum award. And I'm like, wow, I've arrived.
I've made it.
I'm here now.
I'm glad you didn't retire then.
This is the more money that I've ever gotten to make in my life. And that was when I started ranking. So it was 99, 2000 that I started ranking, and then was consistently top 10 in Canada. Was never able to get to that upper level. And what I realized is that I needed more help.
Yeah.
I needed more help because the business was there, but I physically wasn't able to get to it.
Yeah. And what were your hobbies and interests like at that period in your life?
Very little.
Yeah.
I sacrificed a lot. I don't think I took a vacation in the first 5 years I was in the business. I was just all work, and I was on a mission. I was on a mission to prove people who said you're too young, you're never going to make in this business, to say I'm going to show you that I am going to make it. And I was on a mission to never feel like feel insecurity, that feel like we had gone through a lot of tragedies in our family and whatnot, and that insecurity always to this day is with me. So every action I take is to make sure that I don't go back.
Yeah.
So that it's very systematic in the sense that what can I do to make a better life for myself and for my family?
It is amazing to me working with so many entrepreneurs that a lot of our childhood traumas we've experienced growing up are the drivers of the behavior we have that ends up actually helping us make a lot of money.
Yeah.
The challenge is if we don't address the other aspects of success, and we're just pursuing money, that can become a problem of its own kind.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So you were doing well at Platinum Club, and then you're born.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. And so what I've learned coaching people, and like my area of expertise is around, helping people eliminate tasks that don't serve them anymore. Because it's amazing how much we do things just because we've always done them or someone else does it, as well as technology. And I can't wait to unpack that with you. But automating things or semi-automating things, and then of course delegation. What I've learned in the few years I've been really specializing in this area is that most people don't make the hiring decision until something bad happens. I always say like the breakthrough is preceded by a breakdown. And that was certainly the case for me. I don't want to assume it was for you, but you were mentioning the birth of your son. Things were dropping, whatnot. Could you, and again, as much detail as you're comfortable sharing, like, could you give us some insight into what was the days or weeks leading up to that decision of like, I can't do this on my own anymore?
So it was 2002, and Natalie had gone. Yusuf was 6 months old. Natalie had gone back to work. She was a personal banker, and I said, "Yeah, absolutely, go back to work. This is great. I'm a realtor. I've got a very flexible schedule." So I had to be in the office one day, and Jennifer was working the front desk at the time, and I came into the office with my 6-month baby in carriage, and I'm like, I'll just leave my little baby in the office and I'll go meet with my clients in the boardroom. And I asked Jen, I said, can you just look after Yusuf? And of course she came in, she looked after him, and she changed his diaper that day. And
wow. And his first words were Jen. Yeah.
Jen, yes. And and he was wailing, crying in the other room. I could hear him.
Like, oh, you're probably cringing. Yeah.
What is going on? This is not working. Anyways, it just became, and Nat said, okay, you know what? I'm just going to not go to work. I will take care of him. And at that point, I also felt that, okay, I've got another little person that I want to spend time with. I want to be in his life. I don't want to be working all the time. And that's when I asked Jen, I said, would you come work with me for, a couple hours a day, just to help me out and whatnot. And she's been my full-time assistant, number one assistant since then.
So I just have to say, for all my broker owner friends who have staff that have been poached by realtors, I'm so sorry, everybody. Yeah, because that's what you did. Yeah.
Well, it's a great training.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh my gosh. But it's in our independent contractor agreements now, thanks to realtors like you.
I know.
No, I hear you. It's always, especially when you find someone who really fits, it makes a big difference. Mm-hmm. So Jen came on in what capacity? It was a couple hours here and there. So what was she doing at the time?
So my filing system was basically a pile of files just stacked, and I knew where everything was. And okay, well, her first task was go to Staples and buy filing cabinets. I did not have any. And then she just got me organized. She just started getting me organized, started helping me sort of do things that were not productive for me, like writing ads, doing my ad. In those days, you're doing big newspaper ads. I was sitting there doing all my ads, writing all my own, pasting everything, sending it to them for approvals. So she started taking that. And then it was just something simple as just scheduling my day, scheduling my appointments, getting back to people, giving them connecting with lawyers, filling out trades. Again, just being busy. The paperwork I was doing was usually 2 to 3 hours every evening. So that she picked up. That gave me more time at home.
Were you particularly good at paperwork? Did you enjoy doing it?
I'm absolutely useless in the office. I'm absolutely useless with any paperwork. So I knew what my strengths were and my weaknesses were, all of the other stuff. That's why we just pile up.
Yeah.
So it was very important to bring someone. And then I brought on a second assistant to be Jennifer's assistant to help her keep up, because there was no support that she had. Then she was working, and even to this day, 10 to 12 hours a day. I was like, okay, you can't be here and just
be interviewing Jen instead of you. Yeah. She knows what's going on.
She does know what's going on.
And so I just wanted to make sure we didn't leapfrog there. So she started with a couple hours a week or a day after hours, and then she became full.
She thought she was going to work a couple of hours a day.
Yeah.
The day after, I said, I need you all day.
Yeah.
So she's been working full time since the day after.
Gotcha. And then how long did that go for before you decided, you know what, I need to get an assistant for my assistant, which also is something I advocate for. And realtors look at me like I'm crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you don't get it. Like your assistant, your primary is now worth more. You could get a better ROI on their time, but they themselves are stuck doing lower value tasks.
Exactly.
Tell us more about that.
So Jen became very much my personal assistant as well.
Yeah.
Like right down to picking stuff up for me, dropping stuff off. I got her a vehicle first year so she could do all the running around for me. And again, in those days, it's kind of unheard of, that,
for sure.
that you've got even an assistant.
Yeah.
So it came down to systems that I was implementing, like having my listings ready, typed out, whatnot, and that takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
But it was saving me time. So my average listing time is about 35, 40 minutes, that I'm in the home, because I have everything done, all of that organized. Now it's loading docs. But in those days, it was all on paper. So she didn't have time to get to it. So I needed someone to come in to just service my listings, prepare the ads, do all that. So we hired a second assistant at that point.
And I just want to pop out to a conversation I overheard because you were chatting with Richard Robbins before we started.
Yeah.
And you were mentioning how many CMAs you're doing, in a busy day. Could you just share with us, like, what could you do? One? Do you do two? Like, what is that like?
So 4 to 6 a day. 4 to 6 a day, Monday to Thursday.
4 to 6. So 6 in a month would be quite a bit for even a successful agent. I hate using that word because it's so loaded, but like an agent who's platinum level or what would do 6 in a month would be like, yeah, I'm really rolling.
Yeah.
6 in a day.
Yeah.
That's insanity.
Yeah.
I can't wait to look into that a little bit more with you. So you had Jen, you had this other person who came in to help Jen out. One of the things I've observed when you start hiring, you're usually starting from chaos. At least that was me when I got my first VA. It was a dumpster fire. She kind of helped me extinguish it, and then you hire someone else. And you bring it on. You realize that if you were as cool, calm, and collected then as you are now, you might have restructured things from the beginning a bit differently because you're kind of just in survival mode at that point. Was there a point in time in that first 4 or 5 years where you realize, like, this is going to be a part of my business. I want to hire and I'm going to hire these things. Like, I'm wondering where the delegation playbook formed, because I know you have, as you mentioned, 4 full-time people now, another part-time person, contractors. I'm assuming that you've spent some time on the actual system of hiring. Is that fair to say?
I have, but I also hire very much on personality, enthusiasm, commitment. If I feel that they're going to be loyal, I'm very quick to hire, to be honest with you, but I'm very quick to fire. If
Could I get a job with you right now?
Let's go.
And then fire me right now. Yeah, you're fired. Yeah, get the hell out of here.
Yeah. But it's important not to, it can't be long drawn out. If you know someone's not they're not committed, or they're just not capable.
Yeah.
So I'm not hung up on experience.
Yeah.
Because I know we can train them. I know we can, and sometimes it's better not to have that experience and bad habits fall.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
You've made it this far, which means you're ready for your next breakthrough. If you're tired of trying to figure it out all on your own, let me guide you. Join the waitlist for our next Breakthrough Academy, a 6-week virtual group coaching program where I'll teach you our proven breakthrough method. With live lessons, expert guests, and a cohort of like-minded agents, you'll learn to work less and earn and live more. Visit bradenweecroft.com/academy or find the link in our show notes. Don't wait. Your breakthrough is just around the corner.
And so when you look at your overall business, do you have, whether it's actually structured this way, or at least in your thinking, like departments, like when you have 4 people on your team now, do they each have different segments of the business? Are they all generally doing the same thing, just there's so much work that you need 4 people? Like how do you structure your team today?
Yeah, this is great. And so is precisely, I've got everyone's got their tasks, but everyone knows everybody else's just in case.
So there's cross training.
There is cross training.
Yeah.
So Jennifer is my life assistant. She right down to my haircuts, to my dental appointments, to reminding me of things I need to do, paying my property taxes, paying my credit cards, paying my utility bills. So she's doing everything to keep the financial end running. She is my compliance officer. So when an offer comes in, making sure everything is right, all the trades are right, we've checked all the right boxes. I have bought a lot, going back to why did I need this system? Because I was making a lot of mistakes. I can't tell you the number of water softeners I've had to buy, and how many payouts I've had to do on alarm systems because I missed it.
Yeah.
You're just busy and I missed it. So if you look at that, like the amount of savings you have because someone is watching your blind spots, that's very important.
In a way, it probably doesn't fully pay for itself, but it certainly helps.
It certainly helps. And then actually, I should say I have 2 part-timers because I have a bookkeeper that comes in once a week as well.
Oh, that's the MVP of my team, Joan.
Yeah.
I don't think she watches or listens to any of my stuff.
Good.
But bless her. Bless her. Because she pays everybody on the team, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we have that as well. And then she comes in just on a Saturday for half a day or whatever. Yeah. Then Alicia is my client services manager. Yeah. So she handles everything. And we joke that she basically dates every client. Hi, just checking in. How are you? How are the kids? Yeah. She does all the stuff that I can't get to, but keeps them engaged.
Almost like a relationship manager in a way.
Pretty much. Yes, absolutely. So she fills out all the listing paperwork. She does the ads. She runs that whole department, the renewals, the feedback, the follow-ups. Then I have Melissa who handles all of my social media.
And you're in-house for your social media.
Yeah. So I have my crew that from VL that comes in and
whoop, whoop. They're standing behind the cameras.
So they come in, they do all the filming, they do the editing, and then she does the posting. She does the sort of the captioning and whatnot. Yeah. So she handles it, but she also handles my database. She handles my mail outs, and just basically coordinating whatever needs to be done on increasing our intakes.
Yeah.
Right? Then I have Zeb, who's actually my brother as well. He retired from another job, and he is my full-time property manager. So we manage 114 properties for clients. Plus we have our own portfolio that we run. So Zeb handles all of that. It's a great retention tool for me, for my clients. So those 114 people are not going to go to another agent because we're managing their properties.
Right.
So it's, obviously we charge a management fee, but it's a modest fee to ensure that we're involved in their real estate transactions in the future. And then I have a gentleman by the name of Waze who does all my running around, dropping off lock boxes, sold
TaskRabbit is a service that exists that I'm a big advocate for. You have your own person who does the running.
Exactly.
Or the go for this, go for that.
Exactly.
Yeah, and they're super valuable.
They're very valuable, and we need that because the other assistants' time is far more valuable sitting in the office, getting the work done than running around.
And how'd you get here today?
I have a gentleman who drove me.
You did? Okay. Like Uber?
No,
No.
no.
Okay.
So I have a driver,
Uh-huh.
and that allows me to catch up.
Yeah.
I would mention 4 to 6 CMAs a day.
Yeah.
So, and I'm every hour on the hour booked. I have 4 assistants that are constantly sending me messages, needing answers to things. So it's virtually impossible for me to respond to them.
Yeah.
If I get in the car, I'm going to my next appointment.
Absolutely.
Believe me, I was, hopefully there's no officers listening, but you're on the phone, you're
Only at red lights.
you're
Only at red
sometimes
lights.
sometimes distracted. And I live
Yeah.
in a town that has a million roundabouts.
Yeah.
Like, it is not safe.
Yeah.
So I decided that's it. I'm done. Got myself a mobile office.
Yeah.
And I have a driver that
Yeah.
takes me from place to place as I need.
And I want to dig into that just a little bit more. What have you noticed in your business, whether it's performance metrics like sales or maybe stress levels or things like that? Like, what is having someone literally drive you to and from appointments done for you? Because how long has it been?
It's just been a month since.
Okay, so in a month, what have you learned about it?
Oh, it's I'm in such a better state of mind. I'm calmer. I'm not wound up. I'm also not in a bad. I haven't experienced road rage 5 minutes before I arrive.
Yeah, you seemed in a really good mood when you walked in the
I
studio
was so
today.
happy.
Yeah,
I'm so happy. Yeah, but it's great because especially traffic, it's getting ridiculous, and it's very, very congested now. And it
Yeah.
doesn't matter where you go or what time. You can't time it anymore. So I just don't want that stress. And again, you want to be in the right state of mind. You want to show up properly for your clients.
Yeah.
And this allows me to do that.
Yeah, totally. And so I want to go back to what you noticed, but let's jump back in the timeline into your first couple of hires. What did you start noticing as a first time delegator? What did you notice? I'm curious. What did your peers say? Because I know we had a little banter about the driver before we started recording. It's like, are people going to get it? What are they going to think, whatnot? But I'm sure people would have had the same thoughts back when you hired an assistant and then an assistant for your assistant. So I'm curious to know, like, what were your peers, your friends in the office, your frenemies in the office? Like, what they say about it?
Hey, you know what? For the most part, I think people were very supportive of it because they could see the exhaustion of me just running around. I was like literally
I could hear your kid crying in client room 3.
that. And also, my broker was very supportive because it was less of a burden on the front desk staff.
Absolutely.
Right? And, when we're busy, we can be not very nice people to our front desk and not to our administration. And I was very fortunate that my broker manager at the time, Bob Stevens, who was with Remax, he took me aside and he said, "You know what? Like, they're doing the best they can.
Yeah,
but
your stress is drawing.
It is.
That's what I say to some of my
put
agents.
It on them. And again, I'm very fortunate that I have people that were in my corner and supportive, but also calibrating.
Yeah.
And you're young, you're hot headed. You're like, I got the world. I got to do this. My job's more important than it. And that's when I realized, like, no, that you're right. That, I'm not being a good person by being like that. I need to get some help, so I'm not stressing out people around me. So I think I had a lot of support. I don't think I had people that were hating on me for it. There were times where they probably there were people that said, "Well, really, you need 3 assistants? You're that busy." Well, yeah. I needed it.
Actually, yeah. And also, it's not just about the sales volume, which, empirically you are selling a lot of homes, but I also think it's up to your discretion to decide how you want to live your life, right? Like, if you decided you wanted to do half the business that you did, but you wanted to take 4 weeks off a year, you might still need the same number of support staff, right?
Absolutely.
Right. So people may not be able to point to your volume to justify it. And I would just kind of throw it back to, I actually don't care what they think.
Yeah.
I'm doing this based off what I want my life and business to look like.
Yeah. We talked about, buying your time back.
Yeah.
But it's also buying peace, like just
Absolutely.
inner peace, just to be able to say, okay, these things are all being taken care of. I'm not staying up all night going, did this get done? That get done? And that's where systems. So we're very big on implementing systems, having tasks, having procedures, having policies, having checklists, just all of that in order to ensure that I'm at peace with what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I'm curious to know, how did your clients respond? How did your clients respond then? And I'd like to contrast that with now, knowing that you have a number of members. I'm curious, were you Sometimes we use the word me when we should say we, or, were you kind of hiding the fact that you had an assistant, or did you embrace the fact? Did it become part of your value proposition?
I had no choice but to embrace it because Jennifer was making the call. And people would often say, well, why are you calling? I want to talk to him. To this day,
Yeah.
I still have customers that will call in and like, no, we don't want to talk to you. Just tell them to call us. And again, we have a policy in place. Can I tell him what it's regarding just so I can prepare him?
Absolutely.
And it is important because if I can't remember what I did like 3 days ago. And if somebody calls me and I'm blindsided by it, I don't want to come across not knowledgeable or forgetting what I had talked about. So I have extensive notes. So Jen will say, Braden called. This is the value you gave him at the house. This is what you expect, what you want them to do to improve the home. So she'll give me some notes before, or at least she'll give me the notes before I respond, so that when I get on the call, I'm not stuttering.
Yeah,
I'm giving them the information. They're like, I'm engaged in that conversation. This was, yeah, sorry, who are you? When did I meet you? Like that can happen. It was happening.
Yeah. And I want to unpack a few mindset topics before we transition into tech, because I'm really excited to hear your perspective on tech. So when I think about the yeah buts or the red flags people raise, why they shouldn't hire, I hear things like it's too expensive. No one can do it better than me, which is my personal favorite.
Yes.
It only takes me 5 minutes to do it. Those are probably the three biggest ones. I was loving if I could just get your quick hit on both of those. So it's too expensive to get help. I'm going to pay $30, $35 an hour. Or if it's a VA through an agency, it's going to be $50, $60 an hour. Help me reframe that. Too expensive.
It's far more expensive not to have the help. So I look at it from the perspective of the money you're spending, you're going to gain it back by the income you earn. So it's the ROI on that spend. And yeah, if you're paying somebody, X amount of dollars per hour and they're not being productive and they're not actually supporting you, then it is too expensive. But you have to look at, did someone overseeing my paperwork and doing all of that save me from making mistakes? And then they're worth every penny I paid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, to me, it's an investment, not an expense.
It's not. Exactly.
But if poorly managed or with no structure, it very much can feel like an expense.
Yeah.
But to me, it's an investment. If I'm hiring someone, say part time for $25,000, $30,000 a year, I expect an increase in revenue that far exceeds that initial investment.
Yes.
And the cool thing that people who follow the podcast will know is I talk a lot about starting small. Even like there's services out there where you can hire someone for 5 hours as little as 5 hours a week to get started. Whereas for you, I feel like your only option in 2000 was part time or full time. It's hard to get that, right? There's even services like I'd already mentioned, TaskRabbit. You need a ugly sofa from the front yard of your listing to be removed. Like you can have that done for you. Like it's like ordering an Uber, but a person can come and just get that done for you.
Yes.
Right? So that was the expensive one. What about they hire me for me? I'm the best at it. What would you say to someone who says that to you is why they're not getting help?
So to a certain extent, that was me. It was, no, they want me. So back in probably 2000, there was a software that was introduced to realtors where I think Quick Office or something like that. And what that would do is that was a scheduling. So you know how we have showing time or broker bay. I'm not sure what software people are using today, but it would be scheduling an appointment. And so the front desk would call your seller and say, so-and-so wants to show the house. I'm like, no way, that's not going to happen. I'm not going to have a front desk part-time person calling my client and then on the system, and they're not going to read their emails and text messages. Absolutely not. Like, nobody can do that. I got to do that. And I realized very quickly that saves me having a full-time assistant just scheduling appointments now for me. So it's just, there's always going to be resistance because we are used to doing things ourselves and not delegating, and we think we're the best at it. But what we don't realize is that the quality of service we give when we're overwhelmed is not nearly as good as what we can get when you have a designated person doing that for you.
Yeah, and I think I attribute it to that idea of like what got you here won't get you there. Like to really establish yourself in your first 2 to 5 years, you probably are throwing all your time, money, and energy just yourself at the business, and you kind of need to do that to get your initial traction.
Yes.
And most people, when they first come into the industry, don't have a lot of resources to spend. So the idea of hiring somebody in addition to brokerage fees and licensing fees and listing fees, like that's intimidating. So I understand you do everything yourself mentality in that first 3 to 5 years. The challenge is it becomes a habit, right?
Yeah.
And I call it, that's the blue collar business plan.
Yes.
Work harder, work longer, repeat.
Yes.
And you just do that over and over again. And it really, really works until it stops working.
It's very measurable, though. As I mentioned, I went from platinum to chairman, and didn't actually have chairman that day, but doubled my ROI or my GCI in 1 year after I had my assistant work for me. So that means that the stuff that I wouldn't have gotten to, I got to all of a sudden efficiently as a result of having somebody there. So it wasn't worth it, absolutely.
Yeah. And then the last one I'd love for you to pick apart is it only takes me 5 minutes to do.
Yeah, and that is something that we're like, as an agent, I'm guilty of it as well, right? So especially when you hire someone new, it's very important to be patient. And yes, you could do it in 5 minutes because you've been doing it for the last 15 years.
Yeah.
They're new at it. Be patient, get them trained, give them the resources. And if after you've done all of that, they're not doing it, then okay, that's fair to say. But again, that 5 minutes that you can get it done in is taking you away from something else, distracting you from something else. So is it really worth your time to do that? Otherwise, basically anything that is being done in the office, I can do, probably in an efficient amount of time. But what's the cost of me taking my time away from other important things?
It's that present self, future self dilemma. We have a really hard time. I learned about this future self concept from a TED talk I watched about people who they're wondering, why are people not saving for retirement enough? Not early enough, not putting away enough. Like, why is it? And they figured out from a psychological standpoint, we have a really, really hard time picturing ourselves in 40 years from now. We are very much a present tense wiring, right? And so it takes me 5 minutes now, and you're like, okay, but that's bad math because a 15-minute task a day that you let go of, whether you eliminate it, automate it, or delegate it, that's 4 days a year.
Wow.
4 days a year. Yeah. So any of my new to delegate agents, when they're like, oh, I can barely get a long weekend, I say, hey, good news. I can get you a super long weekend. 4 days instead of 3. What do you do for 15 minutes every day that you don't need to do? Let go of that. You've got 4 days back.
Yeah, very true.
You do that an hour a week, a day a week. Like, it really starts to compound. But I think it's our wiring of like, well, it's right now. It only takes me 5 minutes. Like, well, let me pull your calculator app.
Yes.
Do the math.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
You mentioned doing things efficiently. Let's talk about technology. I'd love to hear. One of the things that in the short time I've known you, that I've really admired about you is actually, there's funny, kind of very meta. It's through the context of these guys and all of and pointing to the camera people, media people that are behind the cameras right now. When I saw you doing your social media content at the level, frequency you're doing, and then I looked at when you were licensed, and I was like, wow, old dog, new tricks. I like this. Yeah. This is good. Yeah, I think that's that speaks to your personality or your demeanor or mindset of like staying with the times. So if I've said the word AI, have you heard of AI before?
A little bit.
Yeah. So I would imagine you're probably on the cutting edge or not far behind it around using AI. What is that like right now?
AI is a life changer. I use it for everything. What I use it most for is to set the right tone in my emails. There's an immense amount of rage I will feel at times towards people, and I want to tell them. So I tell my AI chat box exactly how I'm feeling, and then it says, "Okay, now polish this, tone it down, make it polite and courteous, but get my effing point across."
Yeah.
Right. So, and it does that for me. So that's very good. It keeps me very even.
The appearance of even. It might not actually be even, but
range.
yeah.
But I use we were talking earlier, virtual staging.
Yeah.
What a game changer.
Okay.
Right. So
how has it changed the game for you?
So number one, I never believed in staging.
Okay.
And stagers are going to hate me for saying that, but I just didn't feel that it's ever necessary. I believe in decluttering. I believe in Febrezing and making the house smell nice.
That's a verb now. Febrezing.
Yeah,
Okay.
Febreze.
Yeah.
Let's get the stink out of the house and make it look presentable, right?
Yeah.
Virtual staging, the whole idea of staging has always been to make the pictures look good so that the buyer looks at it, gets engaged, wants to come and see it. When they arrive at the home, I want them to see the space. Okay. And I think that's the main goal there. Now, with virtual staging, we can go all on paintings and carpets and accessories and whatnot. And, you pay an annual fee. That has been a game changer. I think it has really enhanced our ability to market our properties. I use AI. My nephew, Amir, has AI assistant. It's an app which reads my calendar, has all the contact information, calls the client with my voice, and says, "Hi, it's Faisal's AI calling you," and it basically books the appointments and whatnot. So just using these tools again is another way to take a lot off of your shoulders, and use technology to progress. And evolution is the key. I got licensed in 1988 when fax machines were actually technology.
Sorry, what's that?
A fax machine.
Sorry, what?
Right?
Does anyone else know what a fax machine is?
All these young kids in this room.
Actually, I'm much older than all of you. Damn it. I know what a fax machine is, Faisal. Don't worry.
Telegram.
Pagers.
Little bird flies out. Yeah.
I had to call to book my showings for 3 weeks in my career before Grease came out.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I had the pain of calling the call center, paging the person, and they paged you back. And
I used to have a roll of dimes at that time in my pocket. So the pager would go beep, 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 and I would have to go put a dime in to listen to the message and then use another dime to call back. So that's where technology evolution has been. But those who did not evolve with it, those who resisted it, they were out of the business. Like, we're talking top-notch realtors in 1990 to say even 2000 who resisted it are out of the business. They're out of the business. Social media is a game changer. The amount, my database is also my social media base. So my engagement is not, I don't need to have people on a drip campaign. I am dripping daily. I am engaging daily. I am liking photos. I'm saying, way to go, beautiful. Oh, enjoy your vacation. What you're doing there is you're part of their lives. You weren't just part of their lives for that moment in time that you sold their home. You continue to be. And then when they think about buying or selling or anything, you're already in their mind.
Yeah. No, for sure. And I think that I have this very distinct vision because in our brokerage, we have 200 agents in our Victoria office, about 100 in our office. And so being with that company for 15 years, I kind of see the full array of realtors, the full array of personalities. I see people that I hired 10 years ago that went from rookie to built this team out. Like, it's a really cool thing. It's almost like a slight humanity, but there's this very distinct visual I have of agents that are, say, 25, 30 years in the business. And there's this one group that didn't keep up with the times. And then there's this other group that did. And I'll hear the old stories about how, say, you're the kept up and I'm the one who didn't. How in our first 10 years, we were neck and neck.
Yeah.
Right. And I'd beat you and you'd beat me. And it's we got licensed at the same time. Then this divergent point came where you kept up with the times and I stuck to what I've always done.
Yeah.
And it's, from a brokerage perspective, it's sometimes sad to be sitting with someone who's 30, 35 years in the business and they've gone through their savings. They don't have a huge business. Their website designed in the 90s. And they also have a kind of a negative point of view on the new ways of doing things. And then I look across the hall, let's say, to someone like yourself who's actually kept up with the times and is leading the times. What is that? What trait do you think that is that helps people embrace new things, not necessarily be threatened by them? I see it so much in the brokerage world. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on it.
I think you shouldn't be afraid to try. And I wasn't open to these new apps and all this in the beginning, like I'm talking, 15, 20 years ago. And I realized very quickly by not doing it and resisting it, I was falling behind.
Yeah.
So when I opened my mind to doing it, I found this is actually helping.
Yeah.
And then so I'm an app addict. Let's call it this way. I'll try all kinds of different apps, but I'm quick to let go of them if they're not serving me.
Totally.
So it is just important. And now it's all about making life easier. And it's also about not getting hung up on instant gratification, saying, okay, this has got to work for me right now. So I always say it's action, consistency, and time. You have to allow time for things to work for you. And if they don't, then let it go and move on to the next.
Yeah. And it's like that argument again of present self versus future self. It's like my future self will thank me for learning about AI, right, versus resisting it. And I think it's not, are you a person that says yes to everything right away? I think it's just how long do you stay stuck?
Yeah.
Because I too have resisted certain things that I'm doing now in my business that might even be some of the better things I'm doing in my business. But at first, do I really want to have to learn how to do that or anything like that? What about AI or technology with your team? Because I want to put this up with you. I was doing a workshop the other day where I was talking about having a copywriter. And they said, well, I just use ChatGPT for it. And I said, well, that's why your copy reads the way it does. It's because, well, how do I know the copywriter's not using AI? And I said to them, listen, I have 2 video editors that I work with. One of them's in the room right now. I have 2 different copywriters. I have a virtual assistant. I have a bookkeeper. Who else is on the team? A VX specialist, so virtual, like basically AI automations person. And there's probably a couple other people I'm not thinking about. If any of them are not using AI, they're fired.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
They're fired.
Yeah.
What, the idea that the people that I'm hiring sneaking using AI as an excuse to not hire, that is the most broken.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I'm just gonna make it public. I'm sorry because you know who you are watching this, but your comment shook me to my core. Because that to me is the level of skepticism around AI. It's like, well, what if I pay someone per hour to write this description and they just log on to ChatGPT and do it? And it's like, no. We're all cyborgs now.
Yeah.
We have been anyways for years.
That's right.
And one of these will probably be in our head at some point.
Yes.
But it's like, why are you not embracing the tool? So how is your team using AI tech automations right now? What are you seeing? Maybe they're not apps on your phone, but maybe they're on Jen's phone.
Yeah. I insisted and I constantly remind them that everything needs to run through AI, but review it, fix it, make the tone is right. And you can put your, tones in there, right? But right down to doing calculations, like very complex calculations on when we're dealing with mortgage, all that kind of stuff. Just run it all through AI, and it's amazing how it just brings out all of it. When I get a report, and I do developments as well. When I get a 20-page planning report, I put that through AI, and I say, give me in simple terms what this means.
Yeah.
I don't have the knowledge, understanding, or education to know what that report is, and I don't know how to have an intelligent conversation with the planner after reading that report. And the planner doesn't speak my language, so I need to have it run through, and it gives me exactly what I need. So that all of my ads, Alicia will write. She will load up whatever she needs to, even the pictures, and then it will give her talking points.
Yeah.
The social media stuff that I do, every day we're posting, I'm running that through AI as well, just to have the talking points as well, make sure, and also to do the research for me on a topic, and then give me the talking points. So it's saving what used to take me about 4 to 6 hours of time to get 16 videos prepared, the scripts prepared. I can probably do in about an hour now.
Yeah, that's amazing. I refer to it as make a GPT sandwich.
Exactly.
I write it, I run it through, and then I rewrite what came through. And it's that's how I feel like I get to make use of the tech.
Yeah.
But it's still the origin source is my perspective. People want to have my point of view.
Yes.
Well, that's the well it's drawing from.
Yes.
But I'm not a good writer.
Yeah.
I barely made it through high school. Like, so to have the ability to say what I want, freshen it up, and then for me to look at it again and go, yeah, I don't say that word, or I do enjoy, a joke here and there that AI doesn't like any of my dad jokes, which I take very personally. So I will like have to manually write in a bad joke just to feel like it's authentic.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, make the GPT sandwich. As we round out here, I'm curious, like my perspective here is that I believe that every agent would be able to earn more money. They'd also be able to work less, live more if they let go. And we've talked about your delegation today. We've talked about your automation. I want to finish on things that you've let go of, that you didn't automate or delegate, that you just finally decided one day, you know what, I'm just not going to do that anymore. And either no one noticed, or you realized you built it up in your head as something that you had that was important, like that you just stopped doing. Is there anything that comes to mind?
Things that I just stopped doing.
That you made a strategic choice to be like, what?
Driving is one.
Yeah.
Right. Like for appointments.
Yeah.
That was, again, I'm like, I'm not going to worry about what people are going to think. I'm not going to worry about any of that. I'm just going to take the dive here and just do it. The other is wasting a lot of time in physical meetings that can be handled over
like
Zoom.
Podcasts.
Well, I love it. This is great. This is an honor to be with you. Thank you, Brendan. But it was the number of times that people thought, well, I need to meet with him. Well, if I can do it on a Zoom or on a phone call, then I don't need to. So I got a lot of heat for that. Yeah. For resisting. Well, what? You're not going to come over? You're not going to meet with us? Because here's what happens. You go to someone's home. They're distracted. They're, if kids are crying, they're picking up the phone.
Yeah.
And my time is also valuable.
Yeah.
Your time is valuable. Mine is. So we can do what we need to do over the phone or Zoom. So just cutting out a lot of that and not feeling the pressure. So it's taken me a long time to be able to say no.
Yeah.
To be able to say, no, I'm not available, and not have to give a reason.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's taken time. And again, not arrogantly or not egotistically, but just to know that your time is worth something. And why am I going to spend an hour and a half back and forth for something that could have been handled easily over the phone?
Yeah. Awesome. Any parting shots here?
No, just I think, you know what, we're in a very unique market right now. It's so important to pivot to where the action is and not to be sort of painted into one little corner. I say this to people and they're often surprised. I still will take listings on rental properties because it's bread and butter. It still allows you to stay focused, keeps your overheads down. So, don't feel that, I'm only a luxury agent or I'm only working with these types of listings or this area. Be prepared to pivot and take these times and look at them as opportunities to gain market share, double down on your marketing, pick up whatever is being dropped off, and be far more engaged than you've ever been with your clients.
Well, I've never received one of your angry emails that you forgot to run through GPT, but I have to tell you, I've met a lot of people in my career, and if I could plot success on one side and kindness on the other, you'd be in the top right-hand corner, man. You're one of the kindest people I've ever met. So I just want to say, I really appreciate you doing this with me.
My pleasure.
Thanks for tuning in to Breakthrough with Coach B. If you're ready to let go in order to grow, visit bradenweecroft.com for free and paid resources to help you take the next step. Your future self will thank you. Until next time, here's to your breakthrough.